Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today it's a new CGC 9.8 market update video. Yeah, I got 22 9.8s and some prices to talk about here. Yeah, an amazing list, I think. Really turned out awesome. Lots of great key issues. We'll get into a few hot books for sure, but a couple that were catching my eye here on the other end of things where, you know, maybe 4 to 6 months ago they were a much higher price. So right now, a few kind of pulling back in price, and they could be opportunities for, you know, someone out there possibly. So a really solid list here of some CGC 9.8 completed listings to get into. Okay, first one, it's a Venom number 3 in the third printing. Yeah, this is the super desirable third printing of Venom number 3, first full appearance of Null. I just saw a recent auction in this one, and that ended a couple days ago, so a good idea of kind of the fair price maybe right now, possibly. One went for $463 in an auction. This one was on eBay as well. So $463, certainly, you know, 4 to 6 months ago, this one was like $800, and it was kind of obvious at that point that Null was really hot and that probably won't last forever type of thing. But now, you know, it's getting into a buyable zone. I did make a video on this one where if you want this book, you know, now's the kind of time to start thinking about it and, you know, keep an eye on the auctions. And I'd aim closer to probably 400 in this one, in the CGC 9.8. There's over 1,000 of them now in the blue label, but Venom number 3 third in an auction, 463. That's pretty fair right now if you really want this book, and at least you're not paying 800 like it was, you know, 4 to 6 months ago or whatever it was. Okay, so next one here is a huge key issue I saw sell in an auction too. Amazing Spider-Man number 300. Yeah, origin and first full appearance of Venom. So this one was an off-white to white pager, just of note for sure. Yeah, some of these, you end up seeing quite a few 300 9.8s in off-white to white pages. This one sold in an auction though, so nice to see kind of one selling in an auction for $3,758.88. And in off-white to white pages, under 4,000. I think one of these went, you know, right, I would say, you know, maybe it was 2 to 3 months ago where this book was probably a little bit hotter back then. And it was just under 4,000. So, you know, 3,900 something, let's call it. An off-white to white 300. So now 3,758, you know, maybe $200-300 less than that, cooling off just a tad. Yeah, really, Star Wars is really kind of taking the limelight right now, and it might be, you know, a decent time to look for some lulls in some of the Venom books that have been really hot with, you know, leading up to the next Venom movie. That might be a strategy to think about. But Amazing Spider-Man 300 CGC 9.8 in an off-white to white page is selling for $3,758.88. Okay, next one's a hot one that I was interested in seeing sell in an auction. It was Star Wars Heir to the Empire, number 1. This just in the normal direct edition. You see quite a few of the newsstands floating around out there too. Those are a little more expensive. But, you know, they said Admiral Thrawn's name in The Mandalorian. So, you know, this one really heating up. It won in an auction, $1,070. $1,070 for an Heir to the Empire one in the 9.8. This is one that was like $450 to $500 before his name was on a Mandalorian. So really heating up right now. You know, that is kind of the, I think right around 1,000 is kind of the price you got to pay if you really want this one. And this one might be, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I am tempted to say it might be, you know, worth it to have it cool down. But once Admiral Thrawn maybe gets on this big screen, this might have another leg up if you maybe want to sell into like strength or something like that with this one. But yeah, I kind of missed this one. I kind of wish I bought one when they were $450. But fun to see what they're going for. Okay, next one here is a Star Wars Phantom Menace number 3. Yeah, this is one I talked about on you know, one of our last videos there as yeah, kind of a book that could still have upside, I guess it was. Saw one of these sell for $479 in an auction. Yeah, you're certainly starting to hear people talk about this book more in the light of it's the first appearance of Mace Windu, because there's a lot of speculation that, you know, maybe Mace Windu is going to be in The Mandalorian or his own show or whatever it might be. But there's that, and this really plays well as the first full appearance of Darth Maul. There's a cameo of Darth Maul. I'm pretty sure it's in the first issue of Phantom Menace 1. Yeah, where he's kind of looking through the binoculars, and you don't really see his face, I don't think. So with Darth Maul on the cover on this one. This one's kind of first full appearance of Darth Maul, first Mace Windu. Saw one sell for $479 in the 9.8. So this is in the sort of more desirable, I think, purple cover too. Maybe the desert cover is like $50 cheaper or $100 cheaper right now in the blue label. But yeah, a blue label one for a book that I think could have more upside potential, and we talked about it all in that video, going for $479. So that's probably about the fair price for this one, with a lot of these Star Wars books being pretty hot, so you might want to be careful with these ones, to be honest. Next one here, though, is an older Star Wars book that was an interesting auction to see in. Star Wars number 81. Yeah, I do have this one. I probably should have brought that one out, but I brought out Star Wars number 1 instead, which did sell too. We'll get into that. But this Star Wars 81 is the return of Boba Fett. You get him on the cover too, and a really classic cover, I think. But what has sort of been, revealed lately, I guess, is the other Boba Fett issue with the yellow cover was always like, first Boba Fett out of the movie adaptation, I guess. But apparently he's a clone in that story, so this is sort of the first Boba Fett out of the movie adaptation. Apparently, yeah, and I hadn't read this one in so long, but I do have this one in the 9.8, and it was one that I had actually grabbed raw and got it graded, came back a 9.8, so lucky on that one. But $570 I saw this one go for in an auction in the 9.8. So this is really kind of becoming, the secondary Boba Fett key maybe, and yeah, I just really like the cover, and I like that Boba Fett was on the cover like 2.5 years ago when I got this thing graded, so yeah, I wasn't really seeing the potential of this book, but $570 in an auction is, I mean, this one you probably want to be patient on it if you actually want it. I think under 500 is probably doable. Like, Star Wars, just so hot right now. All right, next one, pretty hot Star Wars book too. Thought it would be interesting to see what a few of these sold for. A Darth Vader 3 in the first print in the 9.8. So it's kind of Star Wars mania right now, and I saw a couple of these sell, one for $350 and one for $370.01, just in the last kind of week here, I guess you would say. So this is one I always sort of recommended that people try to get under $250. So this just gives you an idea, like pretty much every Star Wars book right now is doing pretty good. This one, just with The Mandalorian being so popular, was $250 like a month or two ago, even, not that long ago, even when The Mandalorian started, but it's almost like a new level of popularity right now with those Marvel announcements too. So this one going for $350 and $370 lately. I'd probably still be a little patient because this is a Marvel one. There's a lot of these in the 9.8, a heavily printed book, for under $300 in this one. Next one's a bit of a similar story, maybe. It's a Kanan, the Last Padawan, number 1 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, you get all the first appearance here of a lot of the Rebels and Clone Wars characters that have a lot of potential, you gotta say. Pretty brief first appearance right at the beginning of this book, so we'll get into another book next here that a lot of people are focusing on. But Kanan 1, I do have this one in the 9.8 in the first print with the blue cover there. Seeing one sell for $292 it was, and another for $299.99. And this has sort of been since the, a lot of the announcements that Disney made on their Investor Day and things like that. So this one has kind of got up to another level too. I made a video there grabbing mine around $177, I think it was, in the 9.8, about a month or two ago. So these ones, with those announcements and the rumors, back up to around $300. Kanan, the Last Padawan number 6 I want to talk about here quick is a better cover, admittedly, I think. And a lot of people are gravitating to this issue because this is kind of the first full appearance of Sabine Wren and Ezra Bridger and the Rebels gang. And I think, I do love the cover, and I do sort of buy that it's a first full appearance, but you get a little bit of Wren in the Rebels gang in issue 5 as well, which doesn't have the best cover. So this is almost like the third appearance, I think, of, Wren and Ezra Bridger, or not Ezra Bridger, but, a lot of the Rebels characters. Anyways here, seeing Kanan, the Last Padawan, number 6, sell for $451 in an auction. So first print in the Last Padawan 1, around $300. This one's still having a premium for sure, with a lot of people kind of focusing on the cool cover. And it is kind of more wantable, I think, than Kanan, the Last Padawan, number 1. But Last Padawan #1 is the first appearance, and it is kind of one cool little panel of Rand and everyone, so it'll be interesting whatever way you want to go on that one. Another thing to mention, that Kanan the Last Padawan 1 second printing has kind of the black star cover and has a cool different look to it and is much less printed. So if you're really serious about these books, that might be one, a bit of an up-and-comer that might be worth grabbing, possibly. Whether it's in the raw or the 9.8. Okay, so next one here is, yeah, I saw the classic cell, a Star Wars #1 in the CGC 9.8 white pages. Looking pretty good, looking, you know, nice and similar to mine. I got a pretty nice copy for sure in the 9.8. This one from 1977, yeah, this is a 9.8. I've recommended a lot on the channel. Heating up though, one selling for $2,740. And I'm pretty sure a few have went around $3,000 on some other platforms, but I did see this one sell on eBay for $2,740 American, all US dollars too, and the prices here, just to keep it simple. But yeah, this is even one that my sort of gut feeling was, you know, when it was going up to $2,000, you know, in the last 6 to 8 months, let's call it, I was thinking like you might want to grab another one under 2,000 probably. And I sort of had my eye out, but I didn't see much for a decent price. And now they're starting to sell sort of near that $3,000 mark. Again, in this environment of Star Wars being the coolest thing right now. But yeah, Star Wars #1, $2,740. I'd probably be patient on most of these Star Wars books, but if you wanted it, that's sort of what they're selling for right now. Okay, next one, I did bring it out here. It's a Deadpool #1. This one from 1977. This is probably my favorite sort of a solo Deadpool issue. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Circle Chase, which is like his first solo comic. Don't really like that cover that much, and but really do like this cover, and it came out when I was really collecting comics, so I'm really nostalgic for this one. But saw one of these sell, heating up a little bit more, I think, for $234.95. You know, this one here actually kind of little known. It is a pretty rare 9.8. Yeah, the 9.8 ratio is pretty low. It's like the lower 20s. And because this book is a giant-sized book, they're pretty hard to get 9.8s in the larger giant-sized type of books. Amazing Spider-Man 300 is a giant-sized book, so you really get the spine ticks on the larger books quite easily. So this one's a rare 9.8. It was a really good cold one. I'm pretty sure I did have it on a cold list there, as when they were sort of selling for $175-ish, but you know, now Deadpool 3 is coming out. There's the rumors are starting for Deadpool 3, and this one's already from $175 to kind of $234.95. I think, given how you know, pretty rare this one is in the 9.8, if you like this cover and you're a big Deadpool fan, I got a New Mutants 98 in this one in the 9.8, and yeah, they're really kind of giving me my Deadpool fix. But maybe hopefully closer to 200 is still doable in this one. Okay, next one here is yeah, a pretty cool one to see sell that I think is a good buy right now. It's a Hulk #1 from 2008, first Red Hulk. Yeah, this one saw one go for $269.99. You might even be able to do a little bit better than that, you know, maybe even just under $250 is possibly doable in this one. And you know, certainly with this one, like if Red Hulk ever got into a movie in the MCU or something like that, this is instantly double for sure. Yeah, it's a pretty cold one that if you're a Hulk fan, you can certainly, I think, enjoy this one, and maybe even aim for under $250 in the 9.8 for this one, but one going for $269.99. Next one, sticking with the Hulk theme, Savage She-Hulk #1 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, this is a cool one. Yeah, certainly given, you know, maybe if you're into flipping some books, you could grab this one in the 9.8, and then maybe when the She-Hulk series comes out, you know, this will have another leg up in price. I've mentioned this one as for an early, I think it's a 1980 CGC 9.8. It's a pretty old 9.8. There's quite a few 9.8s out there, but saw one sell for $610 in the CGC 9.8. Looking pretty good in an auction too, so I think that's kind of the, you know, good idea of a fair price right now, given those Marvel announcements just came out not too long ago. So I'd probably be a little bit more patient on this one, but this will be an interesting one to keep an eye on going forward, because the She-Hulk series is pretty much coming out, I think so. Next one here is a cool book from the year 2000 you don't hear too much about. It's a Century #1. And this one, I'm pretty sure there's a few other covers, but this one's in the black cover. I didn't even look on the census today for these books, but I'm assuming this one being a black cover, it might be pretty rare in the 9.8. And it is more expensive, I noticed, than the other Century #1 cover, which is like a white, bluish kind of cover. This one's kind of got some cool eye appeal, though. I never got into Century, to be honest, so I don't know too much about this one. But it did sell in an auction for $389.75. So, you know, certainly if you're just right into maybe speculating on some characters that haven't really, you know, done too much lately, this one might be worth looking into. And definitely, I think if you like Century, this is kind of the one to get. This really cool black cover in the 9.8, selling for $389.75. I think that's probably a decent price for this one. Yeah, it might be one to consider there. Century #1, CGC 9.8. Next one here is one that I think is kind of in a good zone here to buy if you wanted it, and I do kind of want it, to be honest. It's a Justice League #50. This is the first mention of the 3 Jokers, and I really, before I even knew this was the first 3 Jokers, I really just loved this Jason Fabic cover, and I always wanted to kind of pick this one up for like 80 or 90 bucks, but then it started to be known that it was like the first, I don't know if it's the first appearance of the 3 Jokers or the first time like 3 Jokers were mentioned in the storyline or something like that, but I just always liked this cover. It heated up quite a bit there with the 3 Jokers coming out by DC, and you know, I didn't really want to get in there and buy it when it was hot, but I think right now seeing one sell for $100 in the CGC 9.8. And I can remember a lot of these going for like 150, 140, maybe even 175, like right when, you know, people were getting all their 3 Jokers in from, you know, on New Comic Book Day and stuff like that. You know, this book was like, yeah, 160, 170. So to see one go for 100 in an auction makes me kind of want to get in there and possibly grab this one. Yeah, because it is the first 3 Jokers, and you get a great cover that could be quite a bit more collectible over time, and I would aim for right around 100. This one's not, if I remember correctly, not too rare in the 9.8, like a pretty high 9.8 ratio, so not really worth paying up for or anything. So a cool one to consider, around 100 bucks. Next one was really cool that I saw. I was really happy to see one sell. It's a Superman Batman #22, the first appearance of Batman Beyond in DC continuity. Yeah, kind of, he gets one panel where he's coming out of the plane, a pretty cool. It's Ed McGuinness, I'm pretty sure, the art, and yeah, it's a cool panel, first appearance in DC continuity of Batman Beyond. I've mentioned on videos I want this one, seeing one sell for $152.50, and that's been the range, the lower end of the range, I would say, that I've been seeing in the last, yeah, let's call it 6 to 8 months, I guess. Saw one sell for $200 before, and I think the lower end of the range is right around $150. I think this one's worth it. Yeah, first appearance of Batman Beyond in DC continuity for $150. I'll be kind of on the lookout for one of these in the 9.8, to be honest. Yeah, I'm a big Batman Beyond fan. Yeah, I got the first overall, Terry McGinnis. I got 2 of them in the 9.8, luckily. So I've always wanted to add this one to, fits right into my collection for sure. Okay, next one's a cool one that, I got an interesting story. It's an Amazing Spider-Man 365. So you get the first appearance of Spider-Man 2099 in this one. I think it's in a preview. I don't even think it's in the story. But also kind of an Amazing Fantasy 15 hologram cover, which is pretty collectible, I gotta admit. So this one, seeing it sell for $275 in the 9.8. So, you know, like, it was maybe 4 months ago or something, right kind of during the Miles fever, where they were like, yeah, like Into the Spider-Verse 2 is coming out, like the next movie at some point. And yeah, I believe they teased Spider-Man 2099 in the Into the Spider-Verse movie. So yeah, and that story that I have with Amazing Spider-Man 365, I saw one in Canada. This was about, yeah, I'd say it was about this time last year, maybe November of last year, or October or November last year, a little over a year ago. I saw one of these in Canada for, it was like $110 American in a buy it now CGC 9.8, and I watched it for a day and it sold. And I was really thinking about, you know, I should grab this one. I think this is like right around the fair value, below fair value for it. And it was looking good in a new case too, I think. So I didn't buy that one. Now they're selling for $275. I would look for closer to $200 in this one. I think is still doable for Amazing Spider-Man 365. And it might be a good one to look for in a lull before the next Into the Spider-Verse movie comes out. Okay, next one here, a classic I saw sell, X-Men, or X Factor number 6, sorry. It's the first full appearance of Apocalypse. Yeah, one of the kind of biggest, baddest X-Men villains ever, for sure. First full appearance of Apocalypse. This is a cool one. Saw one sell for $319.99. And yeah, I was usually under the impression in the last year or two that the fair value for this one was like $250, $275. But all 9.8s have really heated up here, and I think this one deserves to be over $300. And this is sort of the price for this book. And first appearance of Bane, the Vengeance of Bane, is about $320. Even Mr. Sinister, yeah, Uncanny X-Men 221 is like, you know, $290, $320, depending on the week and the rumors, I guess. But yeah, a lot of these cool villains right around this price. This might be probably the best 9.8 out of all of those as far as rarity, and the 9.8 percentage is like 19%, I think it is. It's a decent 9.8, and always one I mentioned periodically just for the value. Like, it's always one first full appearance of Apocalypse for like a cheap price, you know, for what you get, you know, right around 300. I think is great for X Factor 6 in the 9.8, looking really good. All right, next one here. Ultimate Follow number 4 in the first print. Yeah, always good to stay on top of, see what a couple of these are selling for. One going for $955, I saw, and another going for $1,045. So yeah, just, you know, holding that 900 level like quite stubbornly. I thought it maybe would have pulled back a little bit more to sort of like 750-ish, 800. But being pretty stubborn, and you know, this is, I can almost imagine the Into the Spider-Verse 2 movie rumors like starting to heat up pretty soon. So, you know, if you really want this one, it might be the time to start looking for one closer to 900. Occasionally you see some of them sell for under 900 as well. I think there's been a few 875s I've saw in the last like 2 months. So that's going to be the range for an Ultimate Follow 4 first print. A book I do recommend in the 9.8. Yeah, first Miles Morales. This one was interesting to see. Thor, God of Thunder, number 2. Yeah, first appearance of Gorr the God Butcher. And this one is really heated up, certainly. Christian Bale is going to be playing Gorr the God Butcher in Love and Thunder, I think it's called, the new Thor movie that's going to be coming out. So, God of Thunder, number 2 was, you know, 6 to 8 months ago, or before the rumors, was like $225. You know, right, a little over 200 they seem to go for, maybe up to 250. Seen one sell, $435. Yeah, and I think they're all kind of over 400 now, and this is one, yeah, I don't think you want to get out there right now and buy this one. This, you know, the Christian Bale rumors were like 4 days ago or 5 days ago or whatever it was. So we're kind of in that mode right now where, yeah, this one's done well, and it's went from, you know, 225, let's call it, to 425. But if you wait for some lulls before the Love and Thunder movie, I think you get this one for like $350, $375. It'll probably come right into kind of X Factor number 6 and Bane territory, right around there with a lot of these other villains right now. Okay, next one here is one I really was sort of thinking about when I mentioned at the beginning of the video that there's some books that are a lot less priced right now than they were like 4 to 6 months ago. So this one here is an Amazing Spider-Man number 4. Yeah, really popular, modern. First, when Cindy Moon becomes Silk, pretty much. So kind of first Silk, basically. So this Amazing Spider-Man number 4, we'll just stick to the first print right now. Really heated up there with, there was some announcement, like, I don't know if Silk's getting her own show or her own movie or something like that. Definitely a rumor, an announcement about 4 to 6 months ago. And this one really shot up there to right around $300. But seeing a couple sell here for $201.50 and $227.50. So yeah, this is a really good example of kind of a book where, you know, once the rumors hit, you want to be a little patient, and sometimes it just takes like 4 to 6 months. In this case, about 4 to 6 months with this first appearance of Silk, and you'll probably save yourself, you know, in this case, about $75 to $100. Because they were all around 300, and maybe even some going for 350 when it was like, some rumor was like, yes, there's going to be a Silk movie or show or whatever it was, and instantly this one to 350, now 201.50, 227.50, because I could actually see the potential of like a Silk, you know, movie or show. Right around 200, this is kind of tempting, and I've sort of grown on this book quite a bit, I think. It's kind of a cool one to maybe consider around these prices. Okay, next one here is Year the Villain, Hell Arisen, number 3 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, this is the first full appearance of Punchline. This one in the 9.8 certainly seems to be kind of separating itself from Batman 89 as, you know, maybe being about 50 to 75 bucks more in price. It's sort of the main Punchline key issue most collectors are gravitating to, I think. I saw one sell for $172. And this one's, you know, creeping down a little bit. It was right around 200 for a while there when there were, you know, a lot. I think like Punchline got her own one shot, and then she was in like all the other books too. So it heated back up to over 200. And at that point, I was like, you know, you probably want to be patient on this one. And, you know, 172 I think is better. And this one, I think even closer to 150 will probably be, you know, a decent strategy to wait for. I do think this is the one to get, though, if you're a Punchline fan. 89 is a great cover, too, but, you know, you don't really see her face in that one. And this one, it plays as a first full appearance with a great cover as well. So, yeah, 172, kind of the fair value right now. Maybe I would possibly recommend to wait for 150, though, on Hell Arisen 3 in the 9.8. All right, last one here. Yeah, 22 already. Okay, last one is Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, number 8. Yeah, origin of the symbiote costume. Just one of the symbiote books that were kind of catching my eye this morning. And I did mention there, like, you know, Star Wars is just so hot right now. It's kind of soaking up, I think, a lot of the speculative money, maybe. And, you know, maybe some Venom books, like a Secret Wars number 8, if you really want it, are cooling off just a little bit. So I saw one sell for $425. And I'm pretty sure this one was, like, right around $500. And I recommended, like, I don't think this is a $500 9.8. It's not super rare. There's a lot of 9.8s. There's other 9.8s I prefer. But, you know, now that it's pulling back a little bit and maybe Star Wars is stealing the limelight from Venom a little bit, you can get this one closer to 400, which is sounding a little more reasonable. I'd probably aim for even, you know, 375 on this one. Let's call it for Secret Wars number 8 in the CGC 9.8, getting probably pulling back a little bit, we'll say right now, closer to 400. Okay, so that'll be all. The 22 CGC 9.8s, I'll have a full list in the description below with the prices if you want to have a quick look. But yeah, I do think the best way to just kind of get on top of, you know, where the 9.8s are is just to, you know, look at a bunch of prices and see what some of the completed listings are selling for. And, you know, my feeling is that, sure, maybe some books are pulling back, but the Star Wars books are so hot. There still seems to be a lot of money out there. So the market, I think, it's pretty healthy. Yeah, the CGC 9.8 market is pretty healthy. To be honest, I probably would have thought, you know, maybe there would be a pullback by now. But another thing maybe to consider now is, like, you know, like Biden's the president, and I don't know if the Americans are going to be getting like another check again or something like that. So maybe there's like a little more stimulus coming in, and like people are still at home a little bit more. So, you know, there could be a good, you know, and a good argument that this goes on for, you know, another 6 months to a year, maybe, this hot CGC 9.8 market. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Okay, but if you haven't already, I would invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Yeah, I'd love to have you on our comic book collecting and comic book investing team. Hit the bell for all the latest notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter as well. All the links in the description below. But thanks so much for watching, as always, and just really appreciate all the support. And message me on Instagram if you did have any questions. But thanks again, team, and I'll see you on the next one.